Good morning and welcome to Theberton Oval for this under-23 trial match between Adelaide and Port Adelaide. It might be summer, but it's great to have the footies out, and a few hundred fans already here to get involved and get excited about what should be a great match.
So what impact has it had at training?
Well, the first thing is, from the first bounce, you'll see straight away there's a lot more space, obviously, around the centre bounce contest. So what we're sort of finding is, unless there's a ball up, I guess, immediately, the game opens up and you see a lot more clearances. So we found that we've actually, our numbers using hands out of a centre bounce has actually increased because there's more space. So I really like it, and hopefully you see some one-on-ones up forward.
And Source, good to see Big Riley O'Brien. 2 AFL games. He's a competitor, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, absolutely. He's taken his game to another level, and hopefully he can translate it into real footy now. Well,
we are all set to go for this under-23 trials match between the Crows and the Power. Nice crowd here in at Theberton, I'd say 500 or 600 at least. On a beautiful summer's day, very, very warm. And here we go. O'Brien up against Frampton, and Frampton just wins that one down and then butters up, does it nicely. Handball out to Drew. Frampton gets it back to Drew, who goes long up inside 50. So Port with the first foray forward. Ball off hands. Drew buttering up again, involved, tries to lay a tackle. Crows now, quick handball out. McHenry is in there, a busy player. Bonner tries to break the tackle. That might be holding the ball. It is. So
absolutely. You'll see real high pressure along with Chase Jones, who's now got the footy and about to get tackled holding the ball.
Good tackle, too. That's a ripping tackle there. Outstanding work.
Xavier Dersma, one of the new players. Bit of aggression about the way he put him to the turf as well.
That was nice, to another one of the draftees, Connor Rosie. And look at that leg. Such penetration in it. Over the back. This could be an opportunity here for Port. Farrell kicked 3 goals, remember, in that showdown. Big clash there. Sam Gray gets away from Crouch. Marshall out to Farrell. They can have a ping from there. He starts it at the right-hand goal post, works it back, and then it hits the left-hand goal post. Not a bad effort. The first score of the day. Almost 3 minutes in, and the Power one behind.
This is going to be a big change.
Ball spits out. Paholke gets around one, then has to give off the handball. Wilson goes with the hands. McHenry wanted to give off the handball, didn't know whether to have a shot or to pass it off. Out Stengel getting through. Wilson again. Quick kick forward and the mark taken. Probably about 35 metres out, almost directly in front. And this could be the first goal of the afternoon. And it's that man again, Lockie Murphy.
Yeah, well, he was a good inclusion last year for Adelaide in terms of there was some roles when Eddie Betts wasn't playing. His pressure was good and he knows where the goals are. So a couple of spots in that forward half up for grabs for Adelaide, and he's trying to make every post to win it today.
Absolutely, along with Tyson Stengel. Well, Tyson Stengel is a real traditional footballer, Murph. Just knows how to get it and where to be.
12 goals from 11 games last season. He might have just pushed that one. No, it's okay. Just sneaks in. So the opening goal goes to the Crows, and their first score is a maximum. They lead by 5 points. Almost 7 minutes gone. He was overlooked, fellas, in the draft in 2016. So he's one of those players that hopefully he's got that chip on his shoulder and wants to prove a point.
He's in first place.
As you can see here with the 6-6-6, you've got real one-on-one matchup. So obviously you need to have 2 players in each goal square as well. So if you look at that, it's a pretty, I guess, attacking setup, isn't it? Looks like you can score a lot from centre bounce.
And Source, the importance of the ruckman probably really increases now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes both ways. If you're not getting your hand on it, the pressure's going to come as well. So good to see the Crows get another clearance here.
Matty Wright, who's back almost as a playing coach now, isn't he, Source? He wins the clearance there. What a great player he was at the Crows and Carlton. Really maximised everything he had. Dersma just fell over at the worst time. McHenry, chance around the body. Oh, that's a lovely goal. Well done, Ned McHenry. He'll enjoy that. He's got his first, and the Crows just on a bit of a run here. They've got their third, and the margin out to 17 points.
There you go.
Power now just trying to work it around a little bit. Broadbent, who's been busy. Not a bad kick. Now they go longer, inside 50. 1 against 2, over the back. Might be a goal. I think it is. And the Power have got there first. It's taken 11 minutes. Maybe just kicking against the breeze in this first quarter. That was a good goal there.
Jake Patmore, I think it might have been. A few of his teammates are getting around him.
So a good goal there for the Power. Their first of the afternoon, and the margin back to 11 points.
Yeah, just both sides finding themselves a little bit at the moment. They're trying to use the tactics that they are. They're trying to use some handball and get players free, but with the pressure, that's sometimes difficult. So that one there, it wasn't pretty. It went forward, and they had a one-on-one in the goal square, and they're able to clear the pack, and it rolled through. So Willem Drew.
Bit of a drop kick there. Umpire lets that one go. Ball over the back now. Scholl. And then the kick inboard. Not one of the best there from Seymour, but Port Adelaide with possession now. Bonner hasn't had too much of it to Johnson, who's been okay. Kick didn't quite find the target. Marshall just trying to do some shepherding. Drew, who kicked the first. He might have two. I reckon he has.
Nice kick.
Well done, Willem Drew. He's second. And the margin back to one straight goal.
Well, another player, Sauce, who was very good last Friday night. Now, he's got a big opportunity. We know Ollie Wines is probably going to be touch and go for the first month of the season. Joe Atley is another player who's a similar body shape and size and plays in a similar position. So both those guys not there means that someone like Willem Drew's had a wretched run with injury, gets an opportunity, and he's making every post a winner at the moment.
So, very one-on-one at this stage. Only early in this match, though. We'll see how that evolves. Burn-Jones, neat kick. Nicely done over the top to Patmore. And now they look to go forward here. The power up inside 50. Gray. Not a bad kick. Marshall. He's going to get a free kick. In fact, it was Farrell. And now they elect to play on.
Rosie.
And pretty easy finish there, wasn't it, for Connor Rosie?
So you're right there, Bix. I think this all get flushed out as we see more through the JLT in the start of the season, but it's a bit of a timing thing as well. Like how quickly do you want to get a player back, or suddenly you got to find different ways to manipulate, I guess, playing that spare back. So I really like the idea of looking forward and seeing even numbers, and hopefully we do see a lot more contested marking and a lot more, I guess, one-on-one footy ahead of the ball.
Yeah, and of course, from Adelaide's perspective, you've got some really key ball winners up there like Walker or Betts. You'd love it, even numbers. And similarly, Port Adelaide's forward line this year, if they...
Calling board now. That was a wonderful mark.
Zach Butters.
And huge reps on him. He's got great courage and really good skills too. Now they go long through Bonner, up inside 50, ball over the back. Easy as you like. And another goal for Port. Todd Marshall, he gets his first. And the power with 4 in a row, and all of a sudden they take the lead.
Well, that's what you get with Todd Marshall. He didn't contest that ball because it was a low, flat kick. He wasn't involved, but it comes off hands. And for a bloke who's close to 200 centimetres, his touch is outstanding. He put his right hand up, one hand like a baseball glove, caught the ball, just wheeled around within a step, had it through the goal. So he is a multi-dimensional player, and I have no doubt he's going to play a lot of footy. And that's going to be one interesting thing to watch with Port Adelaide. If Charlie Dixon is down there and you've got a resting ruckman, you've now got another player who's close to 200 centimetres. Not many teams rolling with that mix.
Yeah,
no problem.
Good spread from Paddy Wilson there out of the stoppage, really connecting with the mids there. So he's obviously looking to work really hard.
Bit of a turnover here. Putney couldn't take the mark. Patmore, Paholke went back after it. Now he's tackled. Spits one out. Burn-Jones involved. Underground handball to Burton. Gives it off. Broadbent could get the distance from there, but he elects to go short instead. Just didn't quite get it right. Here's Paholke again, who's also been impressive. Up the line. Great mark there from Dougal Howard. Fantastic grab. Umpire didn't pay. He did. Yeah. And now a 50-metre.
Well, it looked like Howard was about to roll around, and the Crows player on the mark just said, I can't let this happen, and just a bit over the top, knocked the ball out of his hands, so 50 metres.
So I reckon this will be a shot on goal after the siren here. 25 flat, are we, boys? So this will take Howard within what he'll be kicking from probably 55, so it'll be a good kick, but...
And he's been a really impressive player, Howard. Bix, hasn't he? He's started up forward, then gone to defence, and looks right at home.
Well, for a young player, and you look at Port Adelaide's defence, if you put Burton in there as a young player, you've got Darcy Burn-Jones, who's also a young player. Jonas is, of course, the general, but you've got, Bonner amongst others, Houston. It's a very young defence that did a great job last year. From East Wagga, he's now played 30 games, the 23-year-old. Right on the point of the 50, and that's a lovely kick. Beautiful leg. And a high-scoring first quarter. Nicely done. The Power with the final 5 goals of the term to extend that lead to 11 points. 5-1 at 31 to the Crows, 3-2-20. Lads, not a bad first start there for the first quarter. So Benny Davis, 21-year-old from New South Wales. Good to see him in the side here today. Here's Wilson. He managed the one game last year. Left foot shot at goal, just away to the left.
So another little change here, Rennie, is a player like Dougal Howard has to get behind the goal line before he can receive the ball who's going to give him out of the bag. Okay. So he has to be fully behind the line before he can get it that way. They can't just flick it in and go, which Matty Broadbent's done well here.
So Broadbent there just running a good 15 metres, and a penetrating kick like him, you can see where he can get the ball to. The Crows have won the free kick. It's going to be Scholl with it. His father played at Carlton.
Yep.
And his dad's cousins played at North Melbourne and Geelong. 400 games between them.
Premiership player at the Kangaroos, Craig Scholl.
Very good player. How's the right foot banana there? Check side, whatever you want to call it. Shane McAdam. That's the bit of class. Outstanding from him. His second goal on the margin, back to 5 points.
Well,
4 points.
It was interesting I think it was a dangerous tackle. It was slung him into the ground, didn't even have the ball. I think that was what the umpire said. So Port Adelaide move it through.
Frederick with the free kick. And here is Scholl again. Giving the handball out. Might get a free kick. That's going to go Port's way. Aim on. So a chance for Port to go forward. They haven't done that early in this second quarter. Farrell on the left boot. Penetrating kick and a lovely mark. Protected the space really, really nicely there, Tobin Cox. And he'll line up from about 15 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, once again, quick ball movement, transfer of play. They go down there. And when you got one-on-one with space, and as you said, Rennie used his body well, protected the drop zone, and then just fell back onto the footy. What is he, 45-degree angle, probably about 15 to 20 metres out.
Once again, I guess my boys, Crows, they've had all the play in the forward half, but Port have been able to go from end to end to have a shot on goal here, which he's just snuck it in.
Yeah, it only just got in there, but that's all it needs to do. And a nice finish there, and good transition play, you're right, Sauce. They worked it nicely, and the kick from Amon set them up. So Port have that lead back out to 9 points. 6 minutes to go on second term.
Interesting to see the kick-outs. Port Adelaide a couple of times they've tried to let Matty Broadbent tried to shepherd the man on the mark, let him run 15 or 20 metres and then kick it, and they've got it just in front of the centre square both times, but it can be...
Number of bodies around this football. Squeezes out. Fogarty. Big body does well. Gets it away. And the handball comes to Wilson on the left. Nice kick. Sets up Ben Davis. Gives it off. That was well done. Gallucci. Long kick towards goal. And a great mark taken by Stengel. Running back with a fly to the footy. And he should be able to open up the angle and put the Crows back in front. But really nice play there from Adelaide.
Yeah, I think it was Matty Wright who entered the kick in. And it's just a big long chain as Stengel runs around.
And pops it through, and the Crows are back in front.
Yeah, you think for small forwards these days, Sauce, that's bread and butter, even for big blokes like you. But so that'll give him a bit of confidence. He's been quite clever at times in that one there. Used his body, was able to protect that space over the back and dive back to market.
And that's going to be another change you'll see this year. So Tice actually, you can have the open palm in someone's back now. So as long as you're not having two actions where you're pushing them, you can sort of rest your hands there, which is a bit of a change just from elbow in the pass. So, you know, you think more of the key forwards are the ones who are going to do it, but like you said, small forward, Eddie's a fantastic contested mark. It plays a big part in the games.
So just having a look at the replay there, you can see Stengel using that 10 metres that players are allowed now. And so skillful these days. Most of the players bread and butter from that range. And no problems for Stengel, who has his first, and importantly for Adelaide, puts them back in front by a couple of points. Second quarter action, warm afternoon here. There's Crouch involved to Scholl, to Knight. Up towards attacking 50. Hunter, Drew going after it. He's kicked a couple of goals today. Crows have won it back. They did it well. Handball goes off. Here is Matty Wright. Has a shot at goal, and it'll be paid advantage. Another one for Adelaide. And a man who's come back after a few seasons with the Blues has got his out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, went for the drop punt. He was outside of the field of play, so we're pretty confident he could get straight, but sure that wasn't the plan to get it out on the full.
15 points the margin. Strong kick outside defensive 50. Frederick trying to lay the tackle. The Crows away. He threw O'Brien. Now working it through the middle of the ground. Davis up inside 50. Oh, Stengel kept his feet. His opponent Frampton didn't. He runs into the open goal and he finishes. He's got two. And the Crows are careering away at the moment, out to a 21-point lead. That's them.
Over the last little while with that sort of shoulder injury that he sustained earlier on in the pre-season, but you know, great for the depth of our squad and can obviously teach a lot of the young guys some really important lessons.
Frampton managed to edge out his opponent. Ball now spills free. Marshall going after it. He's got some support. Handball over the top. Butters just knew where to be. Runs into the open goal. And Zach Butters has got his first and just keeps Port within touching distance. Margin back to 15 points. The first goal of the second half. going the way of Port.
Well, we mentioned that he's got a bit of spunk about him, Zach Butters. He took the ball, the Joe the Goose, over the top. I think it was Alex Keith chasing him down. He just turned around and gave him a big cheesy grin before he kicked it. So, like I said, a couple of people likened him to Hayden Ballantyne at Fremantle. He can get under the skin of the opposition. I think he's going to become a fan favourite at Port Adelaide. Tell us about him. What's he like at training?
Got a couple down on the bench as well, so there's plenty of footies to go around if it ever does happen.
And we've got that 6x6x6 rule, of course, this year, which has been invoked here today. And you can see if you can get a clearance, you can be so damaging as Crouch goes inside 50. But a great mark taken, although a free kick has been paid against Howard. And it's going to be a shot on goal here for the Crows.
Well, I think Howard took the mark. It
might have been against Garner, Garner.
Jolly Garner. Look, they've been a bit outsized down there in defence for most of the day, with a couple of big guys from Adelaide.
Some big boys down there. Where are they getting these blokes from? Jesus. Massive, these blokes.
Hunter comes in and converts, only about 20 metres out.
How tall's he? Paul Hunter.
205
or something, wasn't
he? He's a big boy.
O'Brien here, trudging off the ground as well. He's massive. And he's a good user of the footy as well. So he's had a bit of injury issues over the last 12, 18 months, but has had a really good run of training throughout the pre-season. And he'll be looking to get an opportunity early on in the season, with Ollie Wines not being there.
Great to have Hamish Hartlett, the vice-captain for Port Adelaide, with us in commentary. Mark Bickley and Tom Wren. As the Crows look to go forward here. Here is Big Strawn getting away the handball. Putney now trying to lay a tackle. Crows, though, get it forward. Up inside 50, ball over the back. Stengel, tight angle, has a shot at goal. That's not bad. That's better than not bad. That's magnificent from Stengel, his third. And Adelaide now out to a game-high lead, 34 points, 11 minutes gone, third term.
Compete one-on-one against their direct opponents without having a bunch of numbers, back there, stopping the play as well. So centre clearances are going to be really, really important.
And it looks like Mackenzie's pretty slow to his feet here, boys. He's still on the ground.
Big pack right in front of us. Not only that, he caught one in the pack, and then someone fell on top of him as he was lying on the ground, which was not ideal either.
So Mackenzie's just in a bit of bother here. Play goes on, but now the umpire's going to hold things up. We've got 3 or 4 trainers assisting him. He's on his back at the moment, now sitting up, so that's a good sign. But gee, he did cop one Bixie right in that marking contest. And for a bloke who can't really take a trick, you have a look at the replay here.
It might have been friendly fire, perhaps.
And getting to his feet now, off the ground, very slow.
He's a pretty tough fella, Trent, so it wouldn't surprise me if he shook it off and come good within the next 5 or 10 minutes. But yeah, it was a pretty solid contest there.
Nice. We'll go shorter to Broadbent. Now it comes out to Pudney. He can go over the top to Frederick. He feigns the handball, then goes away. Kicks in towards the pocket. That's a nice kick. Good lead. And the mark taken by Marshall.
Good patient build-up. Adelaide had all their big numbers back, so Port just changed the angle, came across the other side of the ground, moved it quickly and found some space.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can't, when you've got 30-odd players ahead of you, it's very difficult to find a target, so you got to change the angle of the footy, which is exactly what the boys did. Matty Broadbent sort of drew two to him and used the ball really well, and we've managed to manufacture a shot on goal from Ryan Burton here.
So Burton receiving from Marshall. Started it outside the right-hand goalpost. That was fantastic. A beautiful kick there from Burton. He has got his first, and the margin is back to 28 points.
He's a classy player, there's no doubt about that, and he's spent so much time in front of goals. We know he played back at the Hawks. Where do you think he's going to settle, Hamish?
I think he'll probably play across half-back and maybe slide up onto a wing. He's got good running ability. He's actually a lot bigger than I expected him to be when he first came across. He's probably be bordering 190 centimetres. He's a big, thick body. He can move well. Obviously uses the ball really well as well. So he's got that flexibility about his game. We've actually been trying him through the midfield the last sort of month or so at training, so he's got that ability as well. But I dare say he'll settle down across half-back.
And that's a nice
as long as he doesn't take my spot. Yeah, that's all right.
I was going to say, you might want to push him up the ground.
Got a few there this year.
I think you'll be all right, Hammer. In fact, I was going to ask you, Hammer, about the kick-outs. It might favour a player like you with a penetrating kick, as Butters just hacks one forward. Pretty nicely done too. Sam Gray gives off to Johnson, to Amon, who is streaming through. Wheels on the left. Great goal, Port Adelaide. They've got 2 in 30 seconds.
And there we go. We see the importance of a clean centre clearance as well. Again, there, it wasn't textbook in terms of lacing out passes or any of that sort of stuff, but just that clean ball going inside 50. Sammy Gray, really good, clever one-on-one player against Tom Dode there, got the ball to ground, and Carl finished off really nicely across the body with the snap, but just reiterates the importance of the centre clearance.
See, the other thing that's going to be important as well, blokes who can run, because when you kick to an even number contest, if you're 30 metres away and you get there first, you effectively create an outnumber, and that's what Amon did. He was in the centre square. He burst there and he was the outnumber, got the ball and kicked the goal.
So we've nearly gone 17 minutes, 25-minute quarters here today. We are playing the 6x6x6 rule. Connor Rosie, boys, is about to come back onto the ground, so that shoulder's no problems, which is great. And Port with another clearance inside 50 and another shot at goal, and it's going to be young Cox, who's just shown a bit in this game today.
Yeah, he's been great, Tobin. We picked him up as a rookie. I think when his name was drawn, everyone thought, who's this young kid? But Kenny liked what he saw from Tobin playing a bit of Glenelg footy in the under-18s and reserves last year. He's a great young kid. Obviously a pretty natural sort of footballer, and he's plied his trade very nicely up forward.
And that's a really good kick from right on 50 metres.
He's really strong. He's actually a really strong young lad. Quite often it takes the younger players a year or two to really build on their strength and their muscle, I suppose, but he's come in, he's a bit older, so he's 19. He got drafted sort of a year or two later than usual, but really strong around his hips, difficult to tackle, and he's shown some nice things up forward so far in this game.
Oh, in the first.
Real positive for all the Crows fans watching out there.
And here's Pudney going to Hewitt, to Gray, to Frederick. Great running from Martin Frederick. This is really good transition play from Port. Can they go coast to coast? Hewitt gives off another handball to Gray. Just didn't get enough leather on the pill then, and unfortunately couldn't hit up the target, but not bad. Marshall kept it in somehow. Tries to centre, gets across. In fact, the umpire saying now that it may have in fact gone out of play or a free kick.
Just a slight concern for Adelaide. Ben Davis, after he took that mark, he just looked a little bit proppy, whether it was a foot or an ankle, and he's just made his way off the ground there. So we'll keep an eye on that and make sure it's nothing serious. He doesn't look all that concerned, just watching the replay now. Here comes the short pass. So maybe
has he jumped or has he landed?
Maybe? Yeah, didn't look a lot in it.
In the meantime, Connor Rosie, boys, who copped a bit of a knock to his shoulder earlier in the quarter, has kicked the goal, so good to see him back. But Ben Davis, as you mentioned, just on the ground, but a nice goal there for Rosie.
Tell us about him, Hamish, in terms of he's an absolute star, of course, at pick 5 in the draft. You don't... When the
umpire set to toss this one back in, and Hamish, you look in fine fettle. You're on track, it seems, for round 1, which is great. Yeah,
Rennie, things have really progressed pretty significantly over the last 3 or 4 weeks in particular. Knee's feeling really good and should be right to go for a couple of weeks' time. Oh, no.
Oh, no, he did everything right there, except the finish.
Hey, that's pre-season footy for you, boys.
And that's what it's all about, unfortunately. Oh, lovely little step there from Johnson. Gee, that's good. But, to his credit, Scholl stayed with him, and he's forced the turnover. Now Gallucci, 2 bounces, inside 50. Good chase there by Frederick. They butter up. Stengel, open goal. Well done, Adelaide. And they've got some breathing space again.
That's goal number 4, is it, for Stengel? And he did a really clever little kick. He had the ball outside 50 and he saw Lockie Murphy was in front of his opponent, so he just did a little dribble kick to put it in front of Murphy to hopefully allow him to pick it up and kick a goal. Murphy couldn't quite finish it off, but there was the reward. Gallucci found him goal side of his opponent and just strolled in and kicked a goal. 4 goals from a small forward. Got a fair mentor in Eddie Betts, so what a thrill for him to be learning his craft under one of the game's sort of eminent or best small forwards.
I didn't mind a bit of his work at Richmond, actually, Tyson Stengel, and after we lost a couple of our smaller forwards this year, I thought we might have a little look at him, but the Crows have picked him up. He could be a good little get for the Crows this season.
Laddams and O'Brien in the ruck. Strong tackle by Drew on Crouch, holding the ball, but that was for the ruck. And here is Marnie. We'll see what he's like on the leg. Not bad. Penetrating kick up inside 50. Seymour, Frampton. Marshall's in there, gets around a would-be tackler. Left foot shot at goal is a beauty.
Is that Mead?
And it might be young Mead. Well done. So the Sons of Guns have been involved early in this final term, and Port just stay in touch.
I think where you see there the class that Toddy Marshall possesses, 200 centimetres, but his work on the ground is as good as you'll get from a big fella. See that one-handed pick-up, breaks a tackle, just uses the ball really well, and a nice finish from Mitch Mead, who's he sort of plays as a smaller forward, meaty, and rolls through the midfield from time to time for the Maggies. A little bit different to his old man, but there's a lovely finish on the left foot there from young Mitch Mead.
When you mention Todd Marshall, there's a lot of Justin Westhoff about him, isn't there? You'd see at some stage he could push up and play on the wing if he's smart enough to be a loose player in defence if you needed to stop some momentum. Very clever.
No doubt.
So margin much more manageable here now for Port. Just 8 points the difference. 5 minutes gone, final term. 25-minute flat quarters. Really good game of footy as Port look to go forward again. Amon on that left boot. Swings it back inside 50. Good grab, is it? Yes! Billy Frampton on the second attempt. Takes the mark. We saw him make his AFL debut late last year against Essendon. And he's got a chance to pull it back within a kick for his first goal of the afternoon.
Nice work by Amon. Got the handball received, put it in front of the big man Frampton. Didn't let him down. What's he like in front of goal? Tell us about it.
Generally pretty reliable, and I don't want to moz him, but he's got a real nice set shot in for a big fella.
But right behind him, that's like a bullet. Hamish, there is a job for you in broadcasting, my friend.
Look, as you mentioned, Rennie, he made his debut in the last game of last season. He took 4 contested marks, which is pretty happy to tell everyone about. I'll give you a tip, but he kicked a goal in that game as well. But when he gets a decent run and jump at it, being 200 centimetres and with your arms outstretched, it's pretty difficult to defend. So he's got a little bit of work to do with his genuine pack contested marking, bringing the ball to ground in those circumstances. But when he gets a clean run and jump at it, he's pretty reliable. And obviously he's got a great set shot kicking routine as well for a big fella. Now he goes into the ruck.
2 minutes, we'll see that now. Obviously Ryder and Lysette, going to be hard for him. He's going to have to play well to crack in, but he's been okay today. We'll see how he goes in the ruck. O'Brien down. Nicely done there by Rosie. Oh, there's this dash. Bonner just weaving through beautifully. And now over the back.
Sammy Gray.
Great pick up. This guy's silky. I really like him as a player. Sam Gray, lovely goal. And Port, all of a sudden, find themselves back in front.
Riley Bonner, he just excites, doesn't he? Sometimes the way he can step through a pack. That's what he did there. Got the handball received. Just with the pivot of the hips, he steps past the player. He's got a raking left foot kick. You just hope that at some stage it just all clicks for him. He could be an absolute A-grader, and just wonder at some stage whether he might push up onto a wing and try and fill that void left by Jared Pollock.
He's definitely got that capability. For Riley, it's only I think he's just going into his 4th season, so he's still a very young guy. I think
he's a player that was taken at pick 45 in 2015. 10 games. He's kicked 8 goals in his senior career. See what he's like from just inside 50. It's not too bad. It's just away to his right and through for one behind.
He's definitely become a lot more reliable in front of goals this pre-season. His set shot kicking routine looks a lot more fluent, far more reliable. I think what we just saw then again, boys, was an example of what Zach Butters is capable of as well. In heavy traffic, he hooked the ball to a position that you wouldn't usually find and found the target.
Now Mitch Johnson's kick was intercepted. And Drew goes long and he kicks his 3rd, and that gives Port just a little bit of breathing space.
You've been impressed when you mentioned right off the top when you come on just after half-time you liked his first half, and goal-kicking midfielders, tell you what, they're very valuable. And for the young man, spent a fair bit of time on Brad Crouch as well. He's got 3 goals now, so well done to him.
He's laid some really strong tackles on the inside of the contest on Crouch as well on a couple of occasions. He works incredibly hard from contest to contest, both offensively and defensively, Drewy.
And it's going the way of the Crows. Time just going to beat them.
Barrel.
Needs to get it on quickly, doesn't he? He goes
Crouch.
short. Crouch. He's going to pop it right to the top of the square. Siren might just beat them. It does. And there it is. Port Adelaide holding on. 11 points the margin in the end. The Power 15-8-98. The Crows 13-9-87. But boys, a lot to like from both sides today.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. I love the fact there was 28 goals kicked, which was great. We saw some of the young players show what they're capable of. We saw some of the older guys that we talked of last couple of touches of the match were Brad Crouch and also Matty Broadbent. So probably the most important thing that looks like both teams escaped unscathed, and they've got a really nice hit out.
And just that one maybe issue for Trent McKenzie Hammer, but hopefully not too serious. He looked to be okay, but maybe just a little bit sore after getting hit pretty hard in a market.
Yeah, he looked a little bit groggy. I think he might have copped a hip or something of the like from Dougal Howard in a bit of a marking contest just down in front of us. But with any luck, Trent will be all right in a day or two. 28 goals kicked for the game, 13-9-87 for the Crows, 15-8-98 for the Power. Willem Drew with 3 goals for the Power. Tobin Cox with 2 and Connor Rosie with 2. And for the Crows, Tyson Stengel in his first official hit out, I suppose, in Crows colours, finished with 4, and Shane McAdam with 3. So some really great signs from a lot of young players. And I think what we did see today, guys, is how much of an impact some of the new rules are actually going to play as well this season. With the kick out and centre bounce rule, it's just going to open the game up a lot more, and